Hey guys, it's me, Crystal, and today I want to talk about the book that I've been editing, and so let's get started. As I said in my last video, these questions are going to be a little bit different than the questions I normally do for like new project talk tag kind of videos. So I will put the questions below in case you want to answer the questions in your own videos or on a blog or something, and you don't have to tag me. I don't care, they're just questions. Okay, so the first question is, what is the title of this book? The title is House of Falling Embers. I am finally done with the blurb for this book. I think it took me about a week. I don't know if that's normal for me with blurbs, but it feels like it took forever. I don't think this book had a working title. I think it was just Untitled Artemis on my website. I did have like a different title for like the document, and that's because this is folktale and fairy tale inspired, and so the document was named after the folktale that is the main inspiration for this book. So question number 3, what is this book about? So this book is about this young woman named Artemis, and when she was 13 years old, her best friend in the whole world, her best friend, her boyfriend, her everything, he disappeared in this creepy house they found in the woods. The house locked her out. She went to get help, and when they came back the next morning, the house was gone. And so she has tried to like move on and like, you know, like heal and stuff, but she moves back to the area 9 years later, and she starts like falling apart. So question number 4, what's the genre? This is interesting because, so obviously it's like paranormal. I'm a paranormal writer. It's kind of like a supernatural horror slash paranormal kind of thing. It's a little bit different from like the kind of setup I normally have in my stories, where you have like a character who's fighting against like a villain, like a traditional like regular flesh and bone kind of villain. It's kind of like Winter Siren, which is my second book, and that Winter Siren didn't have like this, I guess, solid, like easy to identify kind of antagonist, and it's kind of the same like in this book. There isn't like a traditional like easy to identify like villain or antagonist for the character to like fight. So question number 5, when is the release date for this book? It is October 1st, 2018, this year. I think it's a Wednesday. I just decided that if I can have publication dates near the very beginning of the month, that will be better for me. There will be less freaking out for me, and then I know the month starts the first like Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday of that month my book is going to come out. So there's not a lot of like extra waiting and like time for me to get nervous and stuff. So a 6th question, what is my favorite aspect of this book? So my favorite thing about this book is like the relationships in the story. Artemis, she has like this boyfriend, and they're having like some problems, and I just loved all their scenes because like they're kind of fighting a lot, but like they're trying not to fight. And it was just different for me because like I haven't had that in a book that I've written like ever. I think the only time my characters have had a boyfriend when the book starts, like I've either broken them up immediately or I've broken them up by like chapter 3. So it was really like fun and different for me to like have like a relationship like this in the story. I also really like Artemis's relationship with her boss, like which I'll talk about him a little bit later. Okay, so question 7, what was the hardest scene to write? So one of the hardest things for me to write, I don't know if it's a spoiler or not, but it's like, I don't know, we're getting towards the end of the book and my character has to make a decision, and I don't know, I wasn't expecting it to hurt me as much as it did. It's kind of like, I don't normally cry at my books. Like normally I might get a little misty-eyed, but most of the time I'm just laughing maniacally like a legit crazy person, because I just think everything I write is funny. And so like even if the scene isn't funny, like I'm just laughing because I wrote it. And so I was really surprised like like both when I was writing and during this last edit, like there are just certain scenes that I was just bawling. Like I had tears running down my face, and that's just not normal for me. Like I had all this emotion welling up in my chest, and like most of those scenes weren't hard to write, but there was one scene in particular that I just didn't think it was going to hurt me. So it wasn't like hard to write, like hard to get the words down. It was just like hard to write as in hard on me emotionally. Question number 8. Who's my favorite character? Okay, so this brings me back to Artemis's boss. His name is Fitton. He is my favorite character in this book. And I don't know what it is. Like, he's kind of arrogant and he's kind of a jerk, but like he's not like a terrible guy, you know. He's not like a butthole or anything. He's just like he's so irritating. And the scenes with him and Artemis, they're like some of my favorite things, because like seeing them together and the way he's like antagonizing her and like the way she responds to him, like she's so annoyed, and I just loved seeing him. I loved that he was there. And it's funny because when I started the story, I did not know like what his role was in the story. I knew he existed because Artemis, like when I talked to her, because I talked to all my characters because I'm sane, and which I highly recommend, by the way, and she was telling me about him, and she was talking about him a little bit more than you know, like you would talk about like a minor character, that you expect your main character to talk about a minor character. So he ended up having like a bigger role than I kind of expected. And another thing I did different with this book was that like I didn't like outline like I normally do. Every book is different. Like with my first book, I pretty much outline what I call my traditional way, which is where I outline a few chapters, I write them, I outline a few more chapters, and I do that for the entire book. And in Winter Siren, like I didn't outline or do anything until I was about a little more than halfway through the book. And then in The Whisper, I think I outlined the regular way, which is a few chapters, write them, a few more chapters, write them, and then I got to a certain point in the story where I just like outlined it through to the end and then wrote it. But like in this book, I kind of like made a flowchart, which was just like a basic information like nightmares, hallucinations, therapy. And then I set it aside and I literally didn't look at it again, and I wrote the whole book like without any kind of outline whatsoever. And I went back and looked at like my flowchart thing when I was done, and I actually kind of stuck to it pretty well. There were a few things that I changed, and there was like a few scenes that like I mapped out like in the bottom of my document, which is kind of par for the course for me. It's very normal for me to type up notes in the bottom of my document. I didn't like label them or assign them to chapters or anything, but I had some scenes that I knew was coming up, and I wanted to make sure I kept everything straight. But yeah, other than that, I was like, it was different. It was just different. And I like to do things different sometimes. It's fun. So question number 9, how long did it take me to write and edit this book? So I am currently still editing. I actually don't remember when I started editing. So I think it took me about a month, so about 4 or 5 weeks to like do this last edit. And then the other edits should go a little bit faster, except for maybe the last one. And how long did it take me to write it? This was actually a little bit faster than normal. It took me 7 weeks total to write it. I mostly wrote it on the weekend. So basically during the week, I just kind of poke at it, and I was like, I'm just gonna watch Hulu, and I'm just gonna like read this book. And then like all that writing energy was like building up during the week. So then like I would get to the weekend and I would write somewhere between like 8,000 and 10,000 words every weekend. So the total word count for the first draft was over 77,000 words. So that kind of makes sense if I'm doing almost 10,000 words a weekend and then writing just a few thousand words during the week or less. It's not too much shorter than normal. Normally I get books done in like the 8-week kind of range, so just a tad faster than normal. So, question number 10, last question. What inspired me to write this book, or what drew me to this particular idea? So, as I said at the beginning of this video, this is folktale and fairy tale inspired. So, at the time I decided to work on this story, I was trying to get another story off the ground that was also a fairy tale retelling. So, about, I want to say like 6 years ago, I was reading through one of my fairy tale anthologies and jotting down notes for different fairy tales that I wanted to do a retelling of. At the time, I really didn't know how to approach them in a way that would work best for me as a writer. So every single one of those ideas fell apart, and they were in like this little like 4x6 notebook, and I set it aside somewhere on my desk where it was literally collecting dust. So I opened that notebook to see if there's anything about the other fairy tale idea that would help me write that story, and it wasn't helpful. It wasn't even the direction that I was still going in. And then I was like, well, why do I have it open, you know, blow the dust off of it? And like, I was just decided to read through what else I had, and I found this one for Hansel and Gretel, and I could only use about like a paragraph of it, but like that one paragraph, it was about this girl, and like she lost like her dear friend in the woods, and like she's being haunted by something. And I immediately, like, I ran like across the living room, so excited, and I was like, can I please write this idea? It was a Saturday, and I was like, you know what, I can do whatever I want. I found a clean page in my composition book, and I started taking notes. I had character names. I did my like flowchart thing. I did all of this stuff over 2 days, and then I started poking at it and writing it on that Monday, which it took me about a week to like get going good on it. But once it got going, like it went pretty well. And cause I don't know, I was just so excited about it, because it's like, I like it when I have an idea and I'm like so in love with it, and I just want to write it like so bad, and I want all my stories to be like that. And so far most of the ones that are published are like that, where I'm just like super excited. And why shouldn't it be like that, right? So yeah, so most of that like Hansel and Gretel idea, like I couldn't do anything with, like it made no sense. It was like historical, because like I hadn't figured out like how to modernize those ideas yet. So like with the experience that I have gained since writing that idea down, my brain just latched on to, like I said, that one paragraph about the girl being haunted, and I was just like, I have to write this like right now. So I did. And now I'm editing it, and I'm working with the cover designer next month, and it's all really exciting. So hopefully this video is not too long. Hopefully it makes sense. And yeah, if you want to talk about your project, if you want to use some of the questions, if you want to make up your own questions and do one, and let me know, and I'll go watch it, because I like listening to people talk about their projects, or like read about people talking about their projects. So if you have a blog or something, drop a link below. And yeah, so that is all. And I will see you guys in another video soon. Bye.